going on, y'all? Welcome back to another Monday Night Raw review. And this Monday Night Raw, well, it didn't have no returns. I'm going to get the cat out of the bag. There was no returns on tonight or on Monday Night Raw. There was, well, a good show. And I'm going to break it down why it was a good show. So, they kick it off with Judgment Day. You know, after SmackDown kicking it off with a match, they decided to kick off Monday Night Raw with a promo. And basically, Judgment Day came out to promote the next week's match between Damian Priest and Edge, which will be in Toronto. And I didn't notice this. I guess that would be like the first time Edge has wrestled on Monday Night Raw in Toronto in over a decade. So, yeah, that really is a true thing. He haven't wrestled in Toronto on Monday Night Raw in over a decade. So, that'd be something to see. That's basically what they came out to promote. Then they came out to promote about them being other Mysterios. You got Rhea calling, saying she is Don's Poppy. Wow. Yeah, they basically they cut a stellar the promo was good because they even though they was they did good with the what chants, and it was just like okay, yeah, y'all kind of okay. I'm in a good spot with Judgment Day. I just don't want them. I don't want their stock to go down just because Edge is not the leader. Like, they still should be a driving force and still should have good matches and good storylines. But they did cut a good promo. Rey Mysterio tried to come out and get some retribution by attacking, and for the most part having the upper hand against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. But Rhea Ripley would interfere one too many times and causing them to get the upper hand over Rey Mysterio, even with the chair. And they would use said chair to get for Finn Balor to hit a coup de grace on it. So, with all that good junk to start off Monday Night Raw, we move on to the first match of the night, which was the first round, or the last or the first round of the women's tag team tournament, I should say, which was Asuka and Alexa versus Doudrop and Nikki ASH. The match was an okay first match. That was very competitive. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a bore fest. They're kind of changing up. I guess they changed up Nikki a little bit. Now she's still dressed like the superhero, but she don't have a cape no more. Now she got a leather jacket. So they kind of try to doing something with Nikki, try to make her character fresh. But in all, the match was competitive and it was good. And with Bianca Belair at their side, just in case something jump off with control, the Alexa and Asuka got the victory, moving on to face next week in the semifinals of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. I almost called it Sarai. That's why I had to stop, because I would have finished that, I would have said Io Sarai, but it's Io Sky. So, and speaking of which, when Bianca Belair and them was celebrating walking up the ramp, they end up getting meet at the top of the ramp by Control, and basically got into a verbal brawl. They didn't get into a physical one, but they got into a verbal one. And wouldn't you know? I mean, I get, if you want to count this as a return, you can. I didn't know this, but Kenny Dystra, I guess, is one of the officials backstage. They said, then afterwards, I found out that he's like one of the producers backstage now. I'm like, whoa, when did Kenny Dystra come back to WWE again? I remember they came back with a little Spear Squad thing, but then he was gone, and then now he's back as a WWE producer. And he's been, and they said he's been producing some matches. So I'm like, huh, who knew? Whatever. Let's see what we going on to afterwards. We got the next match, which was Ciampa and The Miz versus Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Good to see Cedric Alexander back on TV. Good to see Mustafa on TV. They getting used. this was a pretty good match in itself. No complaints here. And no complaints here. But Ciampa and The Miz got the victory in a good old-fashioned tag team match. You could tell this is the Triple H era of wrestling because Triple H is a big fan of tag team wrestling. And it was most of the, and none of the tag team matches that I saw on this show was bad. So you could tell that he made sure to make them some good matches as well. We got Drew McIntyre promo where I don't know why, I was confused as to why he was on Monday Night Raw, but he came out on Monday Night Raw to talk about how he do have a back injury, but he says he sarcastic, even though he did I got my words tongue-tied. He did say that the back injury was real, but then he got tongue-in-cheek about it, saying that it's also because of the fact that he's been carrying 20 or so men on his back for the last 3 years. And he talked about looking ahead, thinking it's a far-going conclusion that he's going to beat Roman Reigns for the titles. He said he came here to scout future championship contenders, and though he listed off Ciampa, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and some more people, he didn't say Kevin Owens. This brought out Kevin Owens. And then he said Kevin Owens, to which Kevin Owens said, "It's funny that you didn't mention me when you was talking about those other guys, but then you did mention me once I came out." And Kevin Owens basically said that he remember who the hell he is, and that he is going to return. He's been missing the Kevin Owens. There's been something missing from him, and he said that's because he's been coming to work, having a good time, but he's missing something. He's missing the old him, and that old him is what he said people like to call the prize fighter, Kevin Owens. And he said that's the Kevin Owens he's going to return to, because it's been too long since he has held a championship, and it's been 5 years, he said, since he's held a championship. So he said now he's returning back to the prize fighter, Kevin Owens, and that every champion is on notice because he's coming after any and every champion, especially Roman Reigns. He told Drew McIntyre, "I don't care if it's Roman Reigns, I don't care if it's you, I'm coming after you guys." And he called Drew McIntyre delusional for saying that he's been carrying people on his back, and that he was the chosen one, and that he this and that and that. To which was a passionate promo for Kevin Owens, but then Drew fired back with a passionate one of his own. This had to be the best promo of the night because they just fed off each other so well. And Drew fired back saying, he said, I was a chosen one years ago, and then I got fired. Then I had to work my way back. He said, you called me to come back, and I had to work my way back to become a 2-time champion. All the success he's got, and that he knows exactly who the hell he is, and that he think it's time for Drew and Kevin Owens to quit talking and wrestle, because this is a freaking wrestling ring, and we are wrestlers. He don't care when you call yourself a prize fighter, superstar, whatever. He said, we are wrestlers. This is a wrestling ring. Let's do some wrestling. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, this is a new regime, because Vince McMahon didn't like the word wrestlers. He only wanted to use the word superstars. But now people are starting to use the word wrestler and belt and all that type of stuff. So it really is a new era. But this did lead into the next match, which was Drew McIntyre versus Kevin Owens, which was a banger. This wasn't a good match. This was a great match. This was the best match of this was the best match of the night by far. I mean, back and forth, the kickouts, the moves, the spots, the story they told, the hype they got into it just from the promo, and now the match was just as good. This was great. This was the promo and this match was just a great combination. I would have preferred somebody to actually got pinned here, but you know what? The fact that it worked so well here that I will give them a break for having a DQ finish. And what I mean by that is right when Drew McIntyre looked like he was getting ready to hit Kevin Owens with the Claymore, the Usos would come out and attack Roman Reigns, attack Drew McIntyre, giving Drew the win via disqualification, and they would get the upper hand on him a little bit, but then Drew McIntyre would drive them out the ring, but then he would turn around and get stunned by Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens looking like he was about to go for a preemptive strike, but then he just turns to the Usos and screamed to them, tell your tribal chief he owes me one. And then he left, leaving Drew McIntyre in the ring for them to get back in the ring and continue to beat down. And when it looks like they was getting ready to get the upper hand again, Drew McIntyre hit Jay with a Glasgow kiss, and Claymore hit Jimmy to run them off again. This time for good, having the upper hand, standing tall. We did get the Seth Rollins and Riddle promo where Seth Rollins came out saying he wanted to get a front row seat to what Riddle had to say, to which Riddle revealed that Seth Rollins thinking that Riddle's going to reveal that he got to retire, and Riddle came on, did tell Seth Rollins, I do have an update about my condition, and that he said he's been cleared, and that the next time he sees Seth, is on between the two. He said, it's on and Seth Rollins said, like something like not so, I think was it SummerSlam? He said like SummerSlam, like so many other times you kept trying to attack me, and always ended up the same way. To which he said, if you was here right now, I'll be glad to give you another curb stomp. And then Seth Rollins, to which Riddle, responded by saying, you know what? You go get your wish, because I'm not in my mother's basement, as you so adequately put it. I am backstage. I am here in Washington, and I'll be out to the ring to beat your butt, bro. And then he came out and they did brawl. And it looked like for a minute Seth Rollins was going to get the upper hand, to which to which Riddle did get reversed. He got the upper hand and sending Seth Rollins into the crowd, to which Riddle tried to chase him, but he ended up running away, and Riddle stood tall, to which then a backstage segment revealed that Riddle wanted to issue a challenge to Seth Rollins for Clash at the Castle. We got a fourth match, which was just a squash match of Veer Mahan. They put him back on the card finally. Veer Mahan versus a local competitor, and he just squashed the local competitor and got the victory. Nothing more here. Typical squash story, right? But we got what could have been considered the main event, because as it was the other good match of the night. Which was Bobby Lashley versus AJ Styles for the United States Championship. And they did so like both men backstage getting warmed up. But the thing here, the reason why I mentioned this, I did this because that's what Bobby Lashley was doing. But yeah, when they saw AJ Styles getting warmed up for the match, you know that somebody was sitting there stalking AJ Styles in the shadows. This will play out into this match, where though the match was good and AJ Styles and Bobby killed it. Near falls reversals. It wasn't one-sided at all. Bobby Lashley looked good, AJ Styles looked good, and during the middle of it, the Miz and Ciampa would come out to taunt AJ Styles because they don't like AJ Styles, and they blame AJ Styles for the interference of last week. So when Bobby Lashley sent AJ Styles to the outside ring and Ciampa distracted both Bobby and the referee, the Miz was going to sneak over and try to beat up on AJ Styles, but before he could, somebody jumped the railing, and then you see security guards trying to grab the guy, and they tussle where they fall into Corey Graves, into the announcers, and when you know it, the guy that was stalking AJ Styles earlier, the person who lit that trash can on fire, was none other than Dexter Lumis, who seems like I don't know if he's going after AJ Styles. He seems like he's stalking AJ Styles. But yeah, he looked like he would try to get involved again, but they tackled him and got him out of there. It went to commercial break, came back. AJ Styles and then was in the ring wrestling again. They tried not to, I guess, think about it, as I forgot the other guy, not Byron Saxton, but the other guy that's in the middle mentioned Dexter Lumis, and Corey Graves was like, we're not even going to talk about it. There's a match going on here. Like, he wanted to keep the focus on the match. And the rest of the match was good. Miz and Ciampa got throughout, and Bobby Lashley ended up retaining the title. It was, like I said, it was a very good match. This was the second best match on the night. We got the next match, which was Dana Brooke and Dakota Kai, and there was a little backstage setting where they were talking about their opponents and their opponents next week in the tournament, and then they also mentioned how Dana Brooke should be prepared, and then she had to be in the ring, had to be backstage warming up herself, and they all three walked up. They were like, "Don't worry, we're not going to attack you," or nothing like that. But she said, "You're trying to intimidate me. You're not going to intimidate me." And she said a little fear would do you some good. And then they end up having this match, which was okay. Dakota Kai, they really wanted to put over Dakota Kai, and Dana Brooke, unfortunately, as you already knew, was going to lose this match, putting over Dakota Kai. Dana Brooke did look good at some points, but the commentary, Corey Graves particularly buried Dana Brooke, saying that the Control want to get rid of the Dana Brooks of the locker room and stuff like that. And Dakota Kai would end up getting the win here. The main event would be Dolph Ziggler and Austin Theory, coming off of a backstage brawl where Austin Theory had a backstage promo, and he pretty much basically insulted Dolph Ziggler, who showed up in the middle of the promo saying that Dolph Ziggler was a loser and basically screwed up his potential career, to which Dolph Ziggler didn't take kindly to, and they brawled, which thus leading to this match, which was another good match. I'm not going to lie and say it wasn't. I'm like, this really was a good match to end the show with. At first I was like, they chose this to be the main event, but then I was like, you know what? It ended up being a good match. And they put up, instead of, they gave a little backstory. Dolph don't think Austin Theory deserved anything he got. He think he didn't earn it. He was just given to him. But Austin Theory and Dolph Ziggler tore the house down, and they end up giving Austin Theory the victory with an 8-count down, and he pinned Dolph Ziggler. What was a good match to end the show. With all that being said, I would actually, I'm actually going to give this episode of Monday Night Raw an 8 out of 10 because it wasn't bad. It really didn't have any bad things. Like, none of that stuff was bad. I mean, I think the only match I really wish they would have replaced with another match was maybe the Veer Mahan, or having Veer fight somebody and have a good match himself, and the Dana Brooke versus Dakota Kai. But other than that, I mean, they wasn't bad matches. It was just like, they was just predictable ones. But other than that, the show was good. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Monday Night Raw. And if you enjoyed this review, you hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed this video so much you want to support the channel, you know what to do, guys. Hit those buttons for me. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content to go anywhere. Because I got, finally, the review for Nope and some more gameplay. So, peace out.